If you're paying attention, really paying attention, you've noticed something's breaking. The headlines won't admit it. The politicians won't acknowledge it. The mainstream analysts keep pretending everything is fine. But the numbers do not lie. Foreclosures are exploding, layoffs are accelerating, debt is suffocating the middle class, homeowners are folding, and the cracks in the housing market aren't cracks anymore, they're fault lines. Nearly 1 million American homeowners are now behind on their mortgages. That's not a statistic, that's a fuse burning. And here's the part that separates men who survive a downturn from men who own one. A historic real estate opportunity is forming, quietly, violently, mathematically, just like 2010. You either prepare now or you get crushed by the same wave everyone else is pretending doesn't exist. I'm not here to comfort you. I'm here to give you the truth and the blueprint. Today, I'm breaking down 5 brutal realities that will change how you see this market. Why Florida, America's hottest housing market, is now panicking behind closed doors. Which states are about to see foreclosures explode 55% plus, and why Alaska and Rhode Island are the canaries in the coal mine, who's actually buying up distressed real estate, and how you can join the elites even with only $25,000. Why tech workers making $200K plus are losing homes faster than minimum wage workers ever did. The exact 2025-2026 investor playbook generating 127% returns while everyone else drowns. If you're not ready for a brutal data-driven breakdown, click off now. Because what follows isn't hype, and it's not theory. It's the real economy, the one the news won't show you. And it's about to punch millions of people in the mouth. The numbers that should make you sit up straight, foreclosure filings jumped 5.8% in the first half of 2025, and that's the surface level stat. Here's the progression that should genuinely fucking terrify you. March, 35,190 filings, plunged 9%. April, 36,033 filings, plus 13.9%. August, 35,697 filings, was 9%. This isn't linear, this is acceleration. The same exponential curve we saw before the 2008 meltdown. And while everyone's staring at mortgage rates like idiots, that's not the real trigger. The real trigger is liquidity collapse at the household level. How do we know? Because credit card delinquencies just hit 7.18%, identical to the pre-crash numbers from 2008. That is not coincidence. That is not normal. That is not soft landing bullshit. That is the sound of Americans falling behind financially. And here's the sick twist. National foreclosure levels are still only 23% of all housing units, 89% below the 2010 peak, which means we're not at the height of the wave. We're at the beginning of it. If you're smart, you're not scared, you're positioning. Florida, the market that looked invincible, now suffocating under its own weight. Let's talk about the golden child of American real estate, Florida. Everyone moved there, everyone invested there. Everyone said it was recession-proof. Now, Florida leads the entire nation with 1 foreclosure for every 267 homes. Here's why the panic is real and spreading. 1. Insurance premiums are skyrocketing at 25% per year. Florida homeowners aren't losing homes because of unemployment. They're losing homes because fucking insurance companies are gutting them alive. 2. Property taxes have exploded. 3 Florida metros rank among the top 5 highest tax increases since 2019. 3. Condo owners are being financially butchered. Post-Surfside inspections, tens of thousands in mandatory assessments. Imagine buying a condo for $450K and getting slapped with a surprise $40K repair bill you can't negotiate. Thousands can't pay it. 4. Specific city-level carnage. Orlando, 1 foreclosure per 234 homes. Jacksonville, 1 per 241. Miami, 1 per 247. That is not normal variation. That is systemic failure. Florida is no longer a hot market. It's an overheated market undergoing cardiac arrest. The state's about to blow. 55% plus foreclosure surges. You want to know where the real opportunities and warnings are? Here's your early shock list. Alaska, plus 55% foreclosure activity. Rhode Island, plus 51%. Wyoming, plus 46%. Why them? Because these are structurally fragile states. Alaska and Wyoming, energy volatility. When the oil sector coughs, they bleed. Rhode Island, manufacturing decline. Plus low wage growth. Plus rising homeowner costs. These states aren't outliers. They're the pre-crash seismic tremors. And then there's the timeline factor, the real secret most investors don't understand. National average foreclosure length, 762 days Wyoming, 125 days Louisiana, 3,612 days. This changes everything. Fast states, cash and fast flips, fast cycles, fast returns, slow states, slow accumulation, long research window, bigger negotiation leverage. This is why amateurs fail. They treat all states the same. The elites don't. The geographic hot zones. Where investors will feed first, here are the most aggressive foreclosure markets in America right now. Lakeland, FL1 foreclosure per 172 homes. Atlantic City, NJ1 per 200. Columbia, SC, 1 per just over 200. These markets aren't in trouble. They are prime hunting grounds for the first wave of predators: hedge funds, private equity, institutional flippers, and elite individual investors. You want to play at that table? Then understand this. Foreclosure markets don't behave like normal markets. They behave like auctions. Fast, violent, winner takes all. The high-income bloodbath. Why tech workers are losing homes. This will shock the average person, but won't surprise a real analyst. Tech workers earning $200K plus are defaulting at record rates. How? They're rich. Wrong, they're leveraged. Here are the numbers the government hopes you ignore. 800,000 plus job losses in 2025 already, 240,000 plus tech layoffs since 2024. Intel, 24,000 fired. Microsoft, 15,000. Meta, 3,600. Amazon, 14,000. Federal government, 300,000 job cuts. Tech total, 89,251 layoffs, 36% YoY increase. And then August hits, 86,000 layoffs in a single month, the worst since 2020. These aren't baristas and cashiers losing jobs. These are people who bought 1.4 in homes on 2.7% mortgages with 2 Teslas in the driveway. When they lose income, they don't downsize. They detonate. Unemployed homeowners have a 4% higher default rate than employed ones. And the Fed itself admitted 94% of home price variation is tied directly to unemployment. Now you understand why defaults are rising before a recession is even officially declared. The young homeownership collapse. The next domino, people under 35 are getting obliterated. Homeownership dropped to 37.4%, down 1.1 points. Government-backed loans, the starter loans, are cracking first. FHA delinquencies, 11.03%, plus 57 BP. VA delinquencies, 4.7%. You want early warning indicators? Here they are. When FHA goes, the rest of the market follows. Every single time. The real terror. 1 million delinquent homeowners. Let's do the math the news is too scared to do. Almost 1 million homeowners are behind. If even half go into foreclosure, that's 500,000 distressed properties hitting the market. Millions of panicked sellers slashing prices. Institutional buyers feeding like sharks. That would make 2010 look mild. Why this crisis is worse and better than 2008. Median home price, $422,600 mortgage rate, 6.3% payment, 326-month down payment needed, Bashu 85,000 affordability index, Shayra 94.4. Translation: the average American cannot afford the average American home. First-time buyers, 24% of market, lowest since 1981. Median age, 38. Required income, 97,000, up 26K in 24 months. Half of renters can't even imagine a down payment. 2/3 can't imagine the monthly mortgage. That is a dead market walking. The debt trap exploding under the surface. Total household debt, 18.4 trillion credit card debt, 1.21 trillion serious delinquencies, 7.18%, same as 2008. Average APR, 22.25%. Millions of Americans are stuck in a treadmill of high interest, higher balances, missed payments, mortgage defaults. The system is not soft landing. The system is rotting. The lock-in effect, why the market is paralyzed. Fed funds, 4.2% mortgage rates, 6.35%. Homeowners with 2 to 3% mortgages refuse to sell. Inventory is frozen. Buyers can't afford, sellers won't move. This is the equivalent of economic arthritis. The opportunity, how elite investors make money in this chaos. Now we get to the part that matters. Here's how the top 1% of real estate investors are positioning themselves. Distressed properties. 20-40% discounts. Banks will accept 70-80 cents on ARC, the dollar in good areas, 50-60 cents in distressed ones. Because REO inventory is shrinking. 2024, REOs 36.3 FDEV, Shaker 2010 peak. REOs 1.2 million scarcity. Plus, fear deals. Top REO states for opportunity. California, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Texas. Fix and flip returns. Gross profit, 7,250 ROI, 28.7% under 225K properties, 46.4% median profit. Buffalo, NY, 127.8% ROI reading, PA, 124.9%, Pittsburgh, 120.6%. This is where men become millionaires quietly. The three strategies based on your capital. If you have 25K, 50K, go into wholesaling and contract assignments. Margins, 5K, 20K per deal. Target states with population inflow, Texas, Florida, Arizona. If you have 150K, 500K, do fix and flip under 225K. These have the highest margins and lowest risks. Lock hard money rates now before they tighten. If you want passive income, BRRR buy, rehab, rent, refi, repeat target B-class multifamily in Memphis, OKC, Wichita cap. Rates around 4.92% with strong upside. The market forecasts and why they're bullshit. Nor says home prices will rise 2 to 3%. Goldman says plus 3.2%. JPM gives a 40% recession chance. Zillow says 2%. Here's the truth. Nobody knows shit because the market is being held together by fake stability and delayed distress. But the one thing every model agrees on, mortgage rates are not returning to 3%. Not this year, not next year, maybe not this decade. Projected rates, 2025, 6 to 6.4%, end of 2026, 5.9%. Translation, the affordability crisis isn't temporary, it's structural. Why this is not 2008 and why it's still deadly. This is not a subprime crisis. This is not a bank leverage crisis. This is a household liquidity crisis. Differences, equity today, 32.8 trillion average equity per homeowner, 300,000 plus. That's good, but new problems are worse. Climate-driven insurance costs, student loans, lock-in effect, wage stagnation, record credit, delinquencies, explosive living costs. This is a different kind of collapse. Slower, more distributed, more profitable for predators. The playbook of the smart money. Here's what elite investors are doing right now. Building relationships with bank asset managers. Preparing cash positions. Targeting REO-heavy states. Focusing on sub-225K homes. Running deals through the 70% rule. Tracking unemployment, foreclosure pipeline, monitoring credit card delinquency curves. Preparing for a 2025-2026 acquisition sweep. You do this now, not when CNN tells you it's a crisis. By then, the motherfuckers with capital already ate everything. The bottom line, this is a wealth transfer moment. Every decade has a pivot point. 2001, dot-com collapse. 2008, housing crash. Pandemic, 2025, the household liquidity collapse. The average person will panic, the average homeowner will drown, the average investor will freeze. But men with capital, discipline, information, and balls will walk into the fire and come out, owning half the neighborhood. This is the kind of cycle where fortunes are made silently. Generational wealth shifts. Assets get handed to those prepared. The unprepared lose everything. The only question now is, are you observing this collapse or preparing to profit from it? Drop a comment below with what you're seeing in your city. Because the smartest investors don't wait for the news. They listen to the ground.